want to thank you guys for all showing up here. This is Organizing Behind Bars, supporting prisoners in the struggle. And we're going to hear from specifically folks here in Pennsylvania involved with HRC. And then also hear from Kalika from George Jackson University and a call-in from the inside as well. And starting it up, it's going to be Salim Holbrook from the Human Rights Coalition here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
First, can everybody hear me? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, let me move this up just a little bit. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm going to briefly, as brief as I can, try and explain the history of the Human Rights Coalition. So the Human Rights Coalition was founded in 2002. It was founded under, I wouldn't say unique circumstances in Pennsylvania, but I think it was exceptional that HRC is an organization founded by prisoners and our families on the outside. When HRC started, it was primarily started in two prison camps, SCI Green and SCI Huntington. And historically, these two prison camps were the break-in camps. Whereas though if you were a troublemaker, if you were someone who acted out, if you were someone who took on the system, those were the two prison camps you were going to land in, because they were pretty much old school prisons. They kept you in the hole for years. It was, SCI Huntington resembled Shawshank Redemption. If you want to just get an idea, the prison, contrasted so much, because SCI Huntington was over 100 years old. So its prison resembled the prison in Shawshank Redemption. SCI Green, on the other hand, was a new prison. It was shiny. It looked like a spaceship on the inside. Everything was crystal clean. They kept it almost sterile. That's how clean it was. However, these two camps were the camps for the troublemakers. At that time, a lot of us were younger guys. We were probably, by that time, 26, 27, but we had had 10, 12 years in prison already. So that, to give you a context, a lot of us came in as kids, 16 years old, 17, some 19. And we were pretty much groomed on books by political prisoners. Black Panthers played a great role in our development. Some of us came out of the Nation of Islam, Malcolm X autobiography, George Jackson, Soledad Brothers. Those were kind of like our Bibles or our religious texts. But we were also really influenced by political prisoners in the Pennsylvania prison system who were former members of the Black Panthers and Black Liberation Army. And when we came through in the early 90s, they had already had 20-something years in prison. So we were young bucks. And, they kind of groomed us. However, like most kids, it took years for that to sit in, what they was telling us. So HRC was basically, the seed was planted in a lot of our minds probably in 1992 or 93. But by 2001, 2002, we were ready to actually take serious what we were reading. And we realized that, look, this system got its foot on our throats, and we need some breathing space. We weren't reformists. Like I said, our whole posture was revolutionary. We were in the minority, but we felt as though we could punch above our weight. And we had families that were riding for us. My late mother was one of the founders of HRC. Miss Patricia, who's in the back row, she is like the matriarch of HRC. She's been there from the beginning, and she's held it down when, it was pretty much just her, because some people had dropped off. So HRC's posture is based on the human rights posture, and that is the rights that we have as human beings, as prisoners, are inherent. We weren't going to beat our head against the wall with the civil rights thing. We understood that those rights are extended by governments. And as what you would call students of Malcolm X, we really listened to what he said about challenging oppression from a human rights standpoint, and that is, you're going to respect my humanity regardless to what circumstances I'm in. And so that formed the posture of HRC, and we felt as though our families on the outside could be our voices. And it was also another process in that too. Our families felt as though, that we're powerless out here. Who do we got to go to? We don't really have, a lot of the organizations that would support prisoners were actually kind of tied hand in glove with the Department of Corrections. or they kind of felt as though, hey, look, we can't piss off the Department of Corrections, so let's not talk about prison abuse. You know what I mean? Let's not talk about ending mass incarceration. Let's talk about, you know, well, why don't you help prisoners out? We kind of were done with that. You know, we were like, no, look, this is adversarial. This relationship is adversarial. And our families by that time were on board like, look, I'm tired of begging this system to help my son. I'm going to help them myself or my daughter. So the families got together. HRC was actually, its first meeting was in a living room. It was a dinner. It was very, you know, from the beginning we realized that this is based on relationships. It's not an organization, but it's almost like a family, and it's based on kinship and relationships. That's how it was on the inside. All of us who formed HRC, we had 10 years history with each other. Getting kicked out of prison, doing years in solitary confinement. So we already had like a deep personal connection. The next logical step for us was, yo, why don't your mom meet mine? Or, you know, why don't my father meet your mom? Or who's riding for you? Because it's like we have these connections, but our families don't. And so that's basically how it started in a living room. And I think it was in North Philadelphia. From there, I think when our people emerged from that living room, I know that when I spoke to my mother, I saw something different in her. It was like she found kindred spirits. Like, you know, when she was talking about how my son has been in the hole for 3 years, there was someone there that said, man, I'm dealing with that. You know, when there was someone that would say, yo, my son is serving life without parole for either a crime he didn't commit or it was disproportionate to what he did, there was someone there that could relate to that and not judge them. So emerging from that meeting, I mean, the spirits were high, energy was set, and you know, we started campaigns. The first campaign naturally was against long-term solitary confinement. HRC started that campaign in 2002. You know, now ending long-term solitary confinement is on the lips of every policy reformist and every politician across the country. But in 2002, we were saying this when I would say maybe 3 to 4% of Pennsylvania's prison population was locked down 23-1. So that's probably at least, at that time, was maybe 2,000 to 3,000 prisoners who were locked down in indefinite solitary confinement. I'm not talking about solitary confinement for 30 days or 90 days. I'm talking about they were just in the hole until the prison said, hey, you know what, we're going to release you. So you had guys 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So we were talking about ending that back in 2002. And to be honest with you, a lot of us didn't believe that we would be successful, but we felt as though, look, these people got our foot on that. Let's go out fighting. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to piss them off. You know, I'm going down, then I'm taking your arm.